Hello dear tea friends from around the world. Welcome to a new tea class with me, Stéphane Erler. I'm the founder of the Tea Masters blog and the tea-masters.com tea boutique. Today we continue our monthly class about a tea book. We are doing part 2 of WuYi by Teaparker. The chapters 5 and 6, we already saw the first 4 chapters 1 month ago. If you did not catch that class, you can find it on my channel. And today we are also going to drink some tea from Taiwan that comes the closest to WuYi tea. And this is roasted Wenshan Baozong from the winter 2017. Something nice that has already changed very nicely in terms of aroma with time. And I will start to brew it before I start with the class, so that I have something nice to drink while I'm teaching. So bear with me. You may see my technique for brewing this Wenshan Baozong using a smaller Shanto teapot. Like always, first we preheat our teapot. Now we put our leaves inside. Up. Couple of leaves behind, and boiling water, but slowly, pour very slowly. Great. If it were WuYi tea, I would pour some on top, but for Wenshan Baozong it's not recommended. But because this is tea that is not rolled but striped, I'm going to pour it out rather quickly. It does not need much time to unfold. Hello Terry, glad to be back. Glad that you are back with us for this class. And since it's also evening, I don't want to have it too strong. So let's keep it rather light, simple, and we can start our lesson right away. You see, very small teapot, so only 2 cups are enough. Actually, 1 would almost be enough. And we are going to talk in this chapter 4 about the very flowery world of WuYi tea. There are hundreds of varieties of tea trees in WuYi, and the names are quite complex. We're going to go through some of them, and because of all these names, it's also called the king of tea varieties, the kingdom of tea varieties. In the past, the major distinction for WuYi tea was between Yancha, Zhoucha, and Qizhong. Yancha being really the teas that are growing closest to the rocks, on the rocks. Zhoucha are the teas that are growing closer to the riverbank, so farther away from the rocks, and therefore they have less of this rocky taste. And Qizhong are this kind of, well, we'll see a bit later what variety it is, a bit an unknown variety, a bit like a wild tea that was brought sometimes by the wind, sometimes by birds, and that grows really outside the normal plantations, along some passes or some unlikely places, and a bush here or there of sometimes mixed breeds, so undefined tea varieties. But nowadays, the way that teas are named is much more about first the cultivar and then the location of the plantation. Now, at the end of the Qing dynasty, that's when the demand for WuYi tea was probably at its peak. And at that time, so Teaparker makes a play on word. He says it's a flowery world, 花花世界. What he means by that is it has double meaning. It's not just flowery, but also a very extravagant world where you have for maybe for marketing reasons, the naming of the teas is very poetic and maybe sometimes extravagant. The superlatives that are used. So he lists some of the WuYi tea names that Lin Fuqian has wrote in one of his books about Huiyan rock. Lin Fuqian is a very well-known tea master who lived very old, wrote lots of books and very influential in the WuYi region. So we are going to look at these names and try to understand, because the names can come from different origins. Actually, the names can take from their environment. It can be inspired by the shape of the leaf. It can be inspired by the aroma, by the time of the growth, sometimes even by the history. Now, let's start with Tieluohan, the iron ahat. The ahat is the monk who is sitting in meditation. So, and Tie means iron. So this Luohan, this Tieluohan, the name refers almost to religion or to the state of mind that one can achieve when drinking tea. It's also a very poetic way of finding a tea name. Sushinlan, the heart orchid. This one is inspired by a flower. Zui Sishe. Now, Sishe, if you are into I Ching teapots, is one type of, it refers to one type of shape for teapots. And Sishe itself actually is the name of a beautiful Chinese woman in history. She was a concubine and had lots of or several lovers, and was used also as a spy. With her beauty, it would open the doors to other kingdoms, and so she was sent to another kingdom to spy. And so we have Sishe as a beautiful teapot, and here we have Zui Sishe, which means drunk Sishe, as a name of a tea. So it takes its inspiration from a well-known person from history, but also makes a bit fun of it, because it says that person is drunk. And a tea drunk is something that you might become if you drink lots of good teas. Bai Yuegui, white laurel, a name coming from a flower. Yelai Xiang is another flower. It means night comes perfume. Actually, it's the Chinese name of tuberose, a very fragrant type of flower that blooms in the evening. We have Jin Shezi, the golden lion, probably taking its name either from the color of the brew or the leaf. Zui Guifei. Now this is interesting. Again, we have a drunk. This time it's a drunk concubine. And Guifei, the name Guifei is also a name that was reused in Taiwan for the process of making insect-bitten tea in the Dongding area in summer. So it's interesting to see that the names for WuYi teas sometimes also influence names in other areas like in Taiwan. We have Zui Maoho, so the drunk hairy monkey, again a drunk one, and hairy monkey, this is probably the refers to the appearance of the leaves with lots of hair. Hair happens especially when the tea leaves are plucked early, but also on some cultivars are more hairy than others, so this must be a very hairy cultivar. We have Baishueli, white snow pear, so probably about the aroma and taking its cues from a fruit. By Dujuan, white rhododendron flower. Jinguanin, the golden guanin, this time a deity. Baichilan, white orchid, again a flower. Fen Hongmei, the pink plum, a fruit. We have Lu Mudan, green peony, flower. Sheluxiang, this is actually the fragrance of milk stone. So the fact that these teas grow on stones and produce such a great fragrance gives them the idea to name it the fragrance of the stone cheese or the milk cheese or the milk stone. We have also Bujechun. Bujechun means ignorant spring. So this one refers to the time when it's picked. It's a tea cultivar that does not know it is spring. So what does it mean? It means it becomes mature after spring. In late spring, early summer, it did not know it was spring, so it's still, when it's spring, it does not know it, it's still not growing, it will grow later on. So the time of harvest determines its name. We have also Wanyan Hong and Wanyan Qing, 10,000 years red or 10,000 years green, two different cultivars, but the only difference is the color and again the extravagance, 10,000 years for green, 10,000 years of red. The superlatives are there for WuYi teas, but the same a color. Qilan Xiang, the scent of orchid. Yue Shang Xiang. This one is interesting. Yue is the moon, Shang on the moon, and Xiang the smell. Here we have a tea that captures the smell that is on the moon. And we have to remember here that the moon is very present in lots of Chinese poetry, especially in Tang Dynasty. So here we have probably a very poetic person who named this tea, who was looking at the moon, drinking tea late at night, or actually more in the beginning of the night when the moon rises, and thinking, my tea, it looks like the moon in this round cup. It has the fragrance of the moon. So this time a very poetic way of naming a tea. We have also Sujichun for season spring, which is also a name that has been reused in Taiwan. We have Qianli Xiang, or the fragrance of 1,000 miles. Again, superlatives. This tea is so fragrant we can smell it 1,000 miles away. That one, maybe not that far, but very nice woody smell and clean aftertaste. Manshan Xiang, a mountain full of fragrance. that's also lots of imagination to imagine the fragrance of the mountain and name it, name the tea after that. Taiyangju, the sun chrysanthemum after a flower, and Fosho Lien. This time means Fosho Buddha, hand, lotus. So we could go on and on. So here we have a reference again to a deity. We have the Iron Arhat, the Jingguanin, now Fosho Lien. So we see there are a lot of different ways of naming a tea cultivar in WuYi. Most of them are still about fragrance, about flowers, but we saw some other even more poetic ways, saying that it's so fragrant you can smell it 1,000 miles away, or that it's even the smell of the moon, or the smell of the whole mountain, or that it's like the smell coming from the milk produced by stone. But so we could go on, but in total there are 830 different names. I'm not going to do the whole class on it. Just wanted to share these ones so that you have a better understanding of the kind of very, it's not just flowery world, but extravagant, poetic world that you enter when you are drinking WuYi teas. Let's go examine some of the most important WuYi teas more in detail. Now we have Shuexian. This is, it means narcissus, so this is also taken from a flower. It has dark green shiny leaves. The trees are tall and old, that's why we often speak of Lao Shuexian or Bainian Shuexian, old or 100-year-old Shuexian. The tea brew has a rich and mellow taste, a clear and sweet aftertaste, and a rich orange color. Now, nowadays, another very important tea is Zhougui. Zhougui means cinnamon. So this one is also about its fragrance and aromas, but it's not a flower. It's even more intense. It's cinnamon is an aroma that comes from a tree. So this Zhougui has dense, dark green, thick leaves. The tea brew is orange yellow, and of course it has a cinnamon aroma. We have also an oolong cultivar. The leaves are curled a little bit downward. The brew is golden, very sweet, and has a peach aroma. We also have the Fosho cultivar, which we saw a bit earlier. This one originates from Anxi in Fujian, not from WuYi. It was brought by the Fangmao Tea House to WuYi at the beginning of the Republic of China, so after 1911. It has a reddish brew color and pear aroma. Then we also have Qizhong. Qizhong is rather a short tree. It's indigenous to WuYi, so it comes from WuYi. As I said, this is more a wild type of tea that grows outside of plantations. It is orange-yellow brew. It has an orange-yellow brew and natural flowery aroma. And we have also Meijan. Meijan is the leaves are thick and oval-shaped. The brew is golden. It has rich taste, but rather weak scents. So these are some of the most important tea cultivars in WuYi. Of course, if you are really into WuYi, you have lots of things to study because there are so many different cultivars, 830. Nowadays, there is a bit a battle between those who would like to produce only a few very popular cultivars and those who try to maintain some even more older cultivars, even if they are not as popular or tasty, just to have this variety, to preserve the variety and be able to use them in when they do pinpe, when they mix different leaves together. So there are, it's a bit a fight to preserve all this diversity. We have also some interesting information about the origins. How old are these names? One of the oldest name is actually Tielohan. We find this name already in the Song dynasty. The name Sheju, stone milk, dates back to the Yuan dynasty. The names Zhougui, Da Hongpao, Lao Junmei, Buzhechun, Baijiguan are from the Qing dynasty. Yeah. We will talk more in detail about Da Hongpao in maybe the next class. There's a whole chapter about it, so don't worry. I'm not going to forget about this one. Lao Junmei is also an interesting tea because it is one of the few teas that is named explicitly in the Dream of the Red Chamber by this very famous book in the Chinese literature. Buzhechun we mentioned. Baijiguan is this white cock crest. Here, so all these teas are already existed during the Qing dynasty and were named Zen. However, the name Fosho we saw comes from the Republic of China, as come Baimudan, Bujiantian also. Now Bujiantian means literally does not see the sky. Bujiantian. How does this name come from? Actually, this one is easy to understand. In WuYi, we have lots of peaks next, sometimes very close to each other. And if you have your plantation that is located just between two peaks, it very seldom sees the sky. Yeah? It's only very straight up there is the sky, but left and right, maybe on all sides there are rocks, so it almost does not see the sky. So that's also one possible name of a tea by the way the location is designed, the plantation. Now some very interesting information about the WuYi terroir. Well, what is it like in this tea region? The rainfall is between 18 to 1900 millimeter per year. We have a sunshine of 1800 hours per year. The temperature varies on average between 17 19 degrees on Celsius on average during the year. It is a subtropical forest climate with red soils, but also poor soil, and it's not very rich because of the stone. And the pH of these soils is between 5 to 6, so rather acidic pH. Now, so we saw for the naming before it was Yancha and Zhoucha. Nowadays, Teaparker in 2003, Teaparker recommended that the farmers in WuYi name their teas with much more detail and take their inspiration from Burgundy and give all the information about the tea, like first cultivar, the year, the location of the plantation, the maker, so that tea can be sold in very small batches instead of being mixed together, and this would increase, of course, the complexity of the teas, but it would also get some places and some varieties more, they would get more recognition. And like in Burgundy, this would help also to raise the profile of some very special plantations, very special locations. And this is actually what happened afterwards. We have some places that became very famous. Of course, the most famous one is Darong Pao, but this one is almost more like a myth. But Nyolanken, Nyoro, so Jogwe from Nyolanken is one example, and yeah, so it was interesting to see that the people in WuYi followed this advice. 2003, China was still quite poor. It's only in 2005, 2006 that China started to import larger quantities of wine, which is a sign that a country is getting more affluent when it has money to spend on this kind of luxury and on wine. And so until 2003, WuYi tea was mostly exported, and now after 2005, 2006, it became much more luxury tea for internal consumption. Now, what is also interesting to see that in time, the peak of WuYi tea was it was very popular at the end of the Qing dynasty. We estimate around 200 tons of WuYi tea produced per year at the end of Qing dynasty. Now, then in 1914, it was 225 tons. This is the peak. But in already 10 years later, 1924, only 100 tons. In 1937, only 20 tons. And in 1941, 17 tons only. So here, of course, 37 is 1 year after the start of the war with Japan. 41, we are completely in the war, so the production has fallen, divided by more than 10 compared to the 1911 end of Qing dynasty. Until 1938, it was more Xiamen, a port city in Fujian, south of WuYi, that was handling the wholesale market for WuYi. But after that, this role came to Hong Kong. Hong Kong became the central place to do the business of WuYi tea. Now, there's one more thing to add about the complexity of WuYi, and I already talked a little bit about it, is the fact that there are lots of different peaks, lots of different hills. Now, in Chinese, there is a saying, it's San Shi Liu Feng, no, San Shi Liu Feng, Zhuoshi Jiu Yan, which means 36 peaks and 99 hills. Now, probably there are a few more, but the two numbers sound very good. So this is what, and there's a list really of 36 peaks and 99 hills. The famous ones are Tianxin Feng, Yuhua Feng, Matou Feng, and in the rocks or the hills, it's Lianhua, Lotus Hill. So if you combine the 830 varieties with these 36 peaks and 99 hills, then you get almost infinite numbers of variations, combinations of tea, depending where such and such variety is grown. It will get the taste of its terroir, of its specific location also. So the study of WuYi is very, very difficult, and there's one saying among tea farmers in WuYi is the more you study WuYi, the less you understand WuYi, because this world is so complex due to this high number of varieties and high number of different locations, each with its specific characteristics. Also, is it closer to the stone, to the rock, or is it closer to the river? All this has an impact on the taste of tea. Now, I would say actually in Baozong, Wenshan Baozong, we have a little bit also this. The easier places are High Mountain Oolong, because here we have only Jinxuan and Qingxing, as we saw last week. But in the Wenshan area, when we do Baozong, we also have much more different cultivars and also different locations. So, and also the fact that you can vary the oxidation level and the roasting level. This is also one place where farmers can add their own skills, their own touch on the tea, and change a little bit its character, makes it also very, very complex, very, very interesting. From my experience, when the tea is over roasted, actually it's very often a sign that it's a tea coming outside the WuYi era that tries to fake a WuYi tea. The WuYi teas, today we saw their names are very often linked to flowers, because indeed, to describe WuYi teas, there is a Chinese idiom, Yangu Huaxiang, which means stone bone, flower smell. Just 4 characters to remember the character and the characteristic of WuYi tea. It has the body of the rock, a rock body, and also a flowery aroma. So all these flower names refer really to the major component, the major aroma of WuYi teas, which is very, very flowery. So if a tea that should be a WuYi tea does not have this flowery smells, but only has a very powerful roast smell, then it is definitely not a real WuYi tea. A real WuYi tea, as we saw in most of the cases, has a very strong fragrance that is linked mostly to flowers, sometimes to fruits, and always to something very beautiful, very poetic. So these teas are very rare, but important, because they are the birth of oolongs. That's where everything started, and so they influence all the other oolongs made in the Asian area. We saw with Sejichun or Guefei, the names partially are adopted also in other regions. We get our inspiration from it. Even Bujechun is also a name I've heard used in Pinyin. So I think that it's interesting to study this book. I'm going to check now if you have any questions. Give me a thumbs up if you liked this class. If you're interested in similar teas, the Baozhong teas in Taiwan are those that have the similar roast level, especially the roasted Baozhongs have a similar roast level as WuYi teas. For the smells, maybe if you really want a 1,000-mile smell, Qianlixiang, maybe I would recommend more an Oriental Beauty. These are very, very powerful in terms of fragrance, and also actually the fact that they are single leaves and high quality makes them close to WuYi teas. Okay, let me see if you have any questions. Oh, lots of comments. Thank you very much. I'm glad your internet returned, Terry, after the hurricane. Good luck to you now. And you are still in a serious recovery mode in our mountain, but our home was spared. Great. Thanks for this, for sharing this good news. You still don't have potable running water. Lilyflower Baozhong. Oh, is Baozhong Lilyflower Spring 24 similar to WuYi Floral Tea? Sorry, I missed the beginning info today. What is very specific to WuYi teas, the traditional ones are late spring harvested. They are also single leaves, so this would resemble something like this, but they are, I would say, they have to be roasted. They should not be over roasted. The roast should not kill the green, but Baozhong nowadays, the unroasted ones, the ones that are completely fresh, completely green, they are influenced by the trend to these light aromas from the high mountains, from the high mountain oolongs. The WuYi teas need to be roasted to qualify as real WuYi teas. So I would say that the lily flower looks very close in shape to WuYi tea. You might say it has a very beautiful fresh flower scent, but it does not have this stone taste, and therefore it's a bit different. It is a great tea. Of course, each we saw that they use so many different flower names, so each WuYi tea will have a different flower aroma. Lily flower we did not see in the list, but the aroma will be a little bit different because of the stone taste. Elizabeth White, your awakened memories of WuYi tea that I tasted 30 years ago. Okay, great. What a fascinating poetic world. Thank you very much for this comment, Elizabeth. I'm glad that your taste buds and the memories functioned well together. I wish you a wonderful Sunday, and I see you next week for another tea class about our sampler of Taiwan oolongs, and we will study another high mountain oolong from Jiangsu Hu, the organic 2. Thank you very much. Bye bye.